lane himself in someday, so it's going to be interesting to see how these two squads.
It is, and so sometimes, you know, shot calling, this, oh god, all that stuff gets really blown out of proportion and kind of skewed into meaning something different for a lot of fans. But it's not always about always knowing the correct decision, right? And always, oh, he's so genius when to go for these Baron calls. Like, he does make bad calls sometimes. So much of it does come from the comfort that he gives to the teammates, especially the new ones like Moon and stuff who have confidence issues, just that so that they have direction, right? And everybody's on the same page. And you see it when these guys play, when they go for one of those calls, it's very decisive. You know, they don't hesitate at all. Sometimes they do go the wrong direction or they do, you know, make a bad trade, but they are on the same page when they do it.
Even if they're going down together. It's that unity that really matters. But something that we're going to be seeing very strange at the start of this draft, the red side bans are nowhere near what you normally see. 2 out of 3 of those perma bans on red side, and Rengar and LeBlanc have made it through. Only Camille actually banned away, along with the Ryze, Karma, Malzahar, Jhin, and Zyra.
Yeah, we like to see sometimes the red side actually not ban all these OPs, right? They're very willing to trade this time around for Dignitas. They're shaking up the established pick ban, and this is something that you actually might expect from Lemonation's side, right?
Right.
You know, him and Death Note. He's very, very comfortable with giving those away usually, but Team Dignitas are turning the tables on him, and they decided to go with the Rengar for Moon. He's so confident. Last time he got it, he was walking through the halls, just trumpeting basically everybody. It's like, yeah, free win whenever I get Rengar, I'm smashing everybody. Like, it's really awesome to see him confident, and now he's set up on the champion in the jungle to succeed. They do have to give over the LeBlanc to Keen for that, though, and you do also pinch the AD carries. With the new lethality, I actually feel like Jhin is just top tier right now, moved above Ashe, and so that's why they've banned out the Jhin here in ban phase number 1, and Ashe is actually still on the table with them picking up the Varus. The new lethality is just so much power early on for those champions like Varus and Jhin that do build right into it.
And even with Ashe still on the table, FlyQuest going to go ahead and opt into not picking up that AD carry in the first half of the picking phase. Instead, they're going to be locking in the support and top lane roles, with Misfortune grab for themselves and High grabbing that Shen for balls on the top side. Although I guess we could see Misfortune AD carry.
Be prepared for the flex swap here with Misfortune. Misfortune definitely is one of the champions that will sneak up on you because she can go lethality builds as well. Just go for the big ultimate. You know, you go to Cleaver along with some lethality items, and it's very much an all-in for a team fighting kind of style because you don't have as much auto attack DPS, but it really does make the ultimate carve out a huge zone in the team fight. Regardless, though, I do like the way Team Dignitas are approaching this one because, to me, Kha'Zix, yeah, he is below Rengar, but it's right there, maybe half a tier right below him, and we'll see what Chaser can do. I've actually been pretty impressed with Chaser, aside from maybe a couple of games where he had some super aggressive moves and got picked off quite a lot. But I really do overall think that he's having a good, good start to his North American LCS career as well. You know, someday does overshadow him quite a bit, but we'll see what he can do against the Rengar this time around on the Kha'Zix.
Going to be 2 mid lane bans coming out in phase 2 from Dignitas, taking Kassadin and Syndra off the table, while Maokai and Nautilus are going to be removed by FlyQuest. And the funniest part about that is these are the 2 most played champions of Balls.
And Balls is one of those guys, like we talked about, has been taking the basically losing matchups for top lane. A lot of losing CS there for him. He's near the bottom. They almost always have him on tanks. Actually, always, I think.
I mean, they got him on the Shen this game.
Literally,
right? He's already got his own pick locked in.
He has only played tanks and hasn't gone for the split pushing role. So him on the Shen, they're just banning out other tanks there. No front line for Team Dignitas. We'll see if Team Dignitas actually, they've drafted the Braum, so maybe they want to use that as their only front line and go with a split pusher for someday. I know they definitely love that strategy. Hey, we get to see High Zed!
The lock-in for the Zed for High.
High Zed that has been played on the world stage. We'll see if he's got those same ninja moves left over here, but he has pulled some sneaky stuff. And he's going to be backed up with the Shen. I always love seeing assassins with Shen. I mean, he's got the option to go with Rengar or the Zed. Both of those can dive in, and both of them can get out with Rengar having the CC immunity and Zed being able to pop back to Shadow. So definitely some possibilities for some super entertaining team fights here in this game. And meanwhile, it looks like Team Dignitas have drafted another member of the front line here. So seeing these multiple assassins jump in, they've decided they do want to beef it up a bit with Poppy here for someday. So they do take the other tank.
Yep, they decide to go ahead and make that front line just a little bit harder to punch through, as they do have the assassin, jungler, and mid laner on both sides of the draft this time. So a lot of damage going to be coming in from those roles. Somebody's got to be there to soak it.
Plus, they did pull the slightly unexpected switch here and move Misfortune over to the AD carry role like we talked about. Definitely is viable, especially with lethality buffs. We'll see what build he goes with and track that, but I do assume he is going to go with one of those Cleaver plus lethality ones. And what they've gotten themselves with that is the Black Shield from Morgana to try and stifle some of those moves from LeBlanc.
And when you've got Shen protecting people with Stand United, you've also got Black Shields coming in, kind of blocking some of the CC. The escape paths are more clear than ever for these assassins to go in, get their mark, and get out safe.
We'll see if they can accomplish it, because it really has been a tremendous amount of High with Moon carrying a lot of these early games. Those two in conjunction making a lot of roams happen.
You can hear the crowd getting excited for game number 1, and they've got good reason to. FlyQuest versus Dignitas. One team sitting on 3-1 after a surprisingly good start. Another team sitting on 1-3 after a little bit of a rougher start than they'd have liked, especially last week. But we'll have to see how they end up doing after this head-to-head starts getting underway.
Yeah, that is Team Dignitas that are the 1-3 team. And to be fair, I mean, all of their series have gone this full stretch. These have all been 3-game series. Even though they did end up dropping the last couple ones, people were kind of giving them a pass on the, oh, you lost to Cloud9. They look like the best team in the league right now. Oh, they lost to TSM, who were kind of resurging. But the questions start to build up because then, yeah, okay, Echo Fox also added to that list there. Where do they kind of draw the line? Because there is so much hype around the imports for this team. Not only Someday, but also Chaser, I think, has been such a good force in the jungle for them. He's at least, I've really liked his early playing for his routes. He does build up, camp leads, basically, and you want to track, like, experience levels rather than CS numbers now.
Right, because there's so many chickens, there's so many Krugs, it's kind of hard to keep track of them.
But yeah, if you count the single camps, he has been doing a pretty good job of actually getting a lead there. So we'll see if he can transition that into a strong mid game, because that's been the moments where we talk about him faltering, getting picked off or invaded and taken down too early.
But when we're talking about Chaser's performance, we've also got to look back at what you mentioned before we even got into the draft itself, where Chaser and Keen have both had these games where it's like, yeah, they're looking good. And then they have other games where it's not so much. So that consistency is really going to be a key element that Dignitas is going to be looking for going forward into the rest of Spring Split 2017 if they want to make themselves an upper-level team.
Definitely true, and I like the gambit that they've made here. They have confidence in Keen, and they're like, all right, we're going to leave up these OPs, basically the Rengar and LeBlanc. I think anybody who's been watching competitive and following was like, yes, I know the three.
They know what we're talking about. Yeah, the Holy Trinity.
But yeah, so they decide to let FlyQuest choose which one they want to go for. And since Moon has had so much confidence in the Rengar, they're willing to give that up in exchange for LeBlanc for Keen, for setting up Keen for some success here. Now I'm super excited for the Zed versus LeBlanc matchup, because it is one that is extremely skill intensive. I really do wonder if High is going to go like super all in on trying to get lethality as early as possible. Hex Drinker is just such a great buy for this matchup because it stops so much of the burst there that LeBlanc is trying to get too early. And meanwhile, if LeBlanc can get control early with the jungler interference, whichever one of these assassins gains control of mid lane and starts to roam around, is going to really help out those bottom lanes that we're talking about.
And yeah, both these guys have the same game plan, right? They're trying to get that point where they can just pop somebody, where they have that instant threat, that insane level of control, where they're able to be the one who rotates first, finds their spot, and forces the other guy to ping missing and just say, I can't follow. If they can get to that point, they're just going to be a force to be reckoned with, especially with these huge damage junglers backing them up. The invade potential, the gank potential, all of it's going to be real scary.
Yeah, I mean, these are two of the... When one team does go with the strategy of not banning out the top tier on red side, basically, we get a lot of excitement because there's high damage potential from these key roles. These are the 2 premier jungle champions that Moon and Chaser will be piloting. And just as the mid laners are assassins and can snowball, so too can the junglers.
But one thing I'm going to be looking at, too, is we can't forget that even though we got all these assassins, we got these big damage dudes bringing the pain to the table, you've also got a couple of tanks in there that are going to be building their 5 tank items, having their wet noodle fights in the top side. And with Poppy's steadfast presence, she has the tools to kind of keep people protected, right? You can stop the leaps from Rengar. You can stop Shen from dashing himself into the fight. So there are ways to sort of answer that.
If there's no black shield on the Rengar.
If. That's a good if.
Tricky Lemonation here with the last pick gets that Morgana, and it is, pretty clearly, like you talked about, enabling these assassins. Not only have they drafted 2 of the, premier lethality assassins here in Rengar and Zed, but they've got a black shield and a Stand United to really help them get off the ground in the early game. And how much can they help them? We'll see, because Lemonation has actually been one of the premier roaming supports. I have so many flashbacks of him on Malzahar especially, roaming to mid lane, flash ulting for High, and he's really been a huge boon to High, especially as far as that mid game and the pickoffs in Fog of War that we mentioned.
Yeah, Lemon definitely a lot of play on that Malzahar so far in this split. It's a playmaking champion. It's one that you can actually get things started with. And Morgana, although you don't have that point and click on the lockdown, you still have the ability, as long as you can dial in those snares, to make it so you can set up the plays for your team, set up the picks, and set up those opportunities to get things going. As Xpecial and Lot are just going to be hanging out in this bot lane brush, Lemon and Altec will be doing the same thing. Neither side really wants to man up and check the other side's brush. They're just going to be maintaining their own territory.
Yeah, too dangerous. Definitely too dangerous. The other thing about that Morgana and the bindings early on, especially paired with Misfortune, is that Misfortune can drop down the Make It Rain to land the slow and make it way easier to land these Morgana bindings. The hitbox is quite large, even after they did nerf it a little bit several months ago. But yeah, those 2 can really assist each other in the poke. And then once you get level 6, nice hold in place there for the ultimate damage to channel through.
Yeah, once that bullet time comes in onto an immobile target, it's just going to be so much damage.
And then the other side of that is Braum. Big strength, even though he is, melee and probably takes a lot of harass early on. The unbreakable wall is what he's going to have to save once Misfortune is level 6, because if that is down, they definitely are going to go for that big harass. So save that ability to try and block out key once. Comes down to Make It Rain harassment already as they push up with the double range from FlyQuest.
I've never actually seen this Braum skin in action because Braum wasn't very popular when they released it. That is really cool that he has a fireplace that actively works in his shield. I'm pretty down with that. Keystone Masteries at the bottom part of your screen there. A lot of Thunderlords showing up. And one thing that we are seeing is that Wrath coming back into the top lane as opposed to the Courage of the Colossus that you ended up seeing for a long time when it was very strong. Recently nerfed going into 7.2.
Yeah, Colossus definitely...
Grasp of the Undying, not Wrath.
Yeah.
I had
we let it pass. That was close enough.
The noise, yeah. We had the right there in the middle, but the Grasp of the Undying coming back instead of Courage of the Colossus.
Yeah, Colossus got nerfed, as everyone knows, and is much weaker, especially in 1v1 situations. But junglers off to the early start here. Chaser goes 3 camps into his very quick level 3, and it goes up to assist someday here.
Chaser early. Looking to make some kind of a play, but the steadfast presence going to be late, so Balls gets himself away easy peasy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he wanted to get in there as quickly as possible to land the damage, but generally on Kha'Zix, and actually on most champions with dashes like that, you want to hold them until you actually need to use them for either the enemy's flash or dash away, because, jumping in there, he already had the angle where you can just walk up, land your auto slow and Q damage, and then try and jump later. But the key takeaway is what you mentioned. The steadfast presence is what they're counting on to interrupt Balls, but doesn't come out in time, so non-action there on the top side gank. Balls doesn't even have to burn a summoner spell and can hold on to that CS lead he's got for himself.
And that constant AoE push that you were seeing in the bottom part of the map there, the Tormented Soil on top of the Make It Rain, just makes it so hard for Xpecial and Lod to hang around in that.
Plus, it's kind of a bonus because, my bottom lane is pushed. If you're Moon right now, you're thinking, oh, my bottom lane is pushing. Plus, the enemy jungler shows top. It's so free to go in and counter jungle on this blue quadrant of Team Dignitas, and that's what he's done. As you can see the leftovers basically of his invade right now, the ward deep inside that side of the jungle, as well as the skull crab that he was able to take beforehand. But yeah, so anytime jungler shows on the opposite side of the map, very clear and easy response there. Going to be able to get back over to his blue quadrant, so can't feed for him, but Chaser did soak up minion experience while he was ganking.
Got a little bit of that at least, a little bit of that experience tax onto his top laner, but Moon's doing a great job for himself, level 5 already. And of course, once he hits that ultimate point, we will be able to see a lot more gank potential from this guy if he can really turn on with that Rengar, as binding after binding finds its way onto Lot in bottom lane.
And they're actually even landing the bindings without the slow. Like before Make It Rain even comes down, Elimination has been highly accurate here. Taking out the Blast Cone, so denying a little bit of the ease of gankability. I mean, Kha'Zix doesn't really have any problems walking down there anyways, but always nice to see some plant control. I especially like to see it from my mid laners because the scrying plants, or the bloom
Scryer's bloom.
Yeah. Those ones are actually more important to me as a jungler for the first spawn. If my mid laners do get control and can push up for that vision control, it does enable these ganks when they get close to level 6.
Moon looking for something here in mid lane, but Chaser's hanging around as well. Neither one going to find anything. Bottom of your screen there, you can see the fan vote as 57% think that it's going to be FlyQuest walking away with the win in this showdown. Still a pretty close vote overall, though. Someday using the TP to get himself back to lane after going back, picking up that Bomby Cinder for a little bit of extra wave control.
And that's pretty big, right? Shen is already 6. He got level 6 first because of that experience leech you talked about with the jungler. And Ball is very ready to use his Stand United. So whenever you see a global, you want to attack it. And that's exactly what Chaser's doing. He's camping this Shen on the top side up once again. Ball's right there. Intelligent to use your flash first to get outside of steadfast presence so that you then can dash.
The right order of skills ends up getting Balls away safely, and Someday blew his own flash, getting in position as the dive might be coming out bottom side. Here comes that high assassination potential. First blood goes the way of FlyQuest mid laner. They're picking up a double. Moon's going to be grabbing number 2, 2-0.
Yeah, and as soon as you see the top lane play fail, you know this is coming. Even if actually that top lane play is successful, you should still know this coming, because this bottom lane from Team Dignitas has been getting harassed under their own turret for the entire game, and this gets weaker and weaker. That's such a juicy spot. And we talk about the double assassin roam from High and Moon being the biggest strength for this team. They use it on the bottom lane that's been getting poked under their turret, and it's just pretty much picture perfect for what this comp wants to establish here in the early game. They get both of the kills, plus Balls, you can see on the minimap there in the replay, was waiting at his turret for the Stand United, doesn't even have to burn it. So the threat is still there for more harassment on the bottom lane, and it's getting very rough for Team Dignitas. The bottom lane is actually approaching one of that untenable situation where you're getting shoved in and you're just primed for another dive.
And there's not even anything they have to dive anymore. That turret is gone.
They even took
it's
turret
gone. On top of champion first blood, they get turret first blood from that. They're up 2,000 gold 8 minutes in off of that single play.
Yeah, incredibly well played, along with the comp that they've drafted here for FlyQuest and the bullying bottom lane. They're basically the thing that could have gone wrong for them is the top side Shen played there, but Balls played it very safe. He warded for himself. He saw Chaser every time Chaser was coming. Even though he got flashed on by Someday, he was able to flash out defensively and survive. And that's all you want, from your Shen. He is providing that threat just by being level 6, and the bottom lane already has a bunch of control. So really all according to plan so far for the FlyQuest squad, and Team Dignitas need to shake things up.
They got to find some kind of a way to do it, but life is tricky, like you're talking about, with that bottom lane turret gone, with that Shen threat being ever present. The CS lead is starting to climb between Altec and Lod, as Altec's going to be having a much larger economy if this keeps up.
And that will get worse, as what you want to do when you're running something like this, like the FlyQuest guys are doing, is you want to then take your bottom lane, and after you shove up the next wave, move that over, rotate to grab the top side outer turret. so that you can take out more territory here, increase your lead. They're going to grab the dragon first, and then we should probably see a lane swap from them to continue to force it, because you want to keep the tempo high-paced here and push this lead so that, you know, all these outer turrets, if you can chain them together, Rengar then really makes all farming territory unsafe for your opponent.
Yeah. Very scary when you hear that roar coming out of the Fog of War and you have no idea where he's going to be going. Drake #1 does go the way of FlyQuest. No contest before the 10-minute mark. That extra Ocean going to give them some nice sustain as they continue trying to push this lead. Second one's going to be another Ocean as well, so if they can maintain that, the regen is going to start to pile up to these guys.
Ocean, definitely a nice early game Drake when the laning is still very important. They've decided here for Team Dignitas to send Keen down to try and answer this high split push. And by the way, we were wondering, oh, is High going to be going for the early Hex Drinker just for, you know, his 1v1s with LeBlanc? He is going with the Lethality Rush into the Edge of Night. So it is still magic damage oriented in the way he's going about it, but he doesn't have any of the magic resist yet. And the thing about that item, even though it is so ridiculously strong right now, until you actually complete it, you're still very much vulnerable to that LeBlanc burst. And the only bonus from Hex Drinker and the argument for that one is that you can complete it so much faster that you really reduce the threat way earlier. But High, not afraid, going with the more offensively typed strategy here and trying to rush that Edge of Night.
Plus, we've seen, you talked about how strong the item is, and a lot of that strength comes from the fact that the active shield, when used properly, can really just make or break a play.
And you can even use it improperly and you're not punished. The cooldown is so low. You can pretty much spam that sucker and
play bad, get rewarded. Edge of Night, go for it.
Out of 7, it'll be up for the right amount of time.
But a good use of it is even better, because you can just break the game wide open with an awesome Edge of Night, blocking a big spell.
Definitely true. All right, so let's check back in on that map, movement that we were expecting from FlyQuest, and they have gone ahead. You know, they cleared out the minion wave in middle, but then they did rotate top, like you're talking about for the top turret here. They are trying to increase the territory they control on the map and try and whittle down the top side. This is really the best way to use your leverage. You send Shen with your Standing Knight and your teleport both ready to the bottom side. You can hug the turret if you even really feel like it, and reduce any opportunity of LeBlanc or someone trying to assassinate you. But Varus actually, oh, he's the target.
There he goes for the dive. High looking to make the moves. Doesn't even need another hit. Heal's not enough. Fly High.
That's the other bonus of going with the Edge of Night Rush rather than the Hex Drinker is you get way more upfront damage because all the components here have been pure AD, and Zed takes out the AD carry here for Team Dignitas as Alad was trying to move into the mid lane to hold the minions. But Zed sees and Zed kills. Classic Varus play here.
Plus he gets the bonus. The heal's gone now too from Lod.
Well, so literally the only thing you can do as the Varus in that situation is flash the Q after. So Zed, the combo, he's going to try and ult you. And then as soon as he comes out of the ult, you have to dodge all of his abilities. High hits that Q right after he comes out. And you know, once that, you're dead already. So the flash, the heal right there is just a bonus icing on top of the cake. High with his class. This is now his patented pose, basically, when he kills someone in mid lane by himself.
Just shaking it off.
I like it. Yeah, he goes with the fly pose there. But yeah, so the only chance for Law there to actually escape with his life was to dodge that Q or flash that Q in some way so that he wasn't killed by the death mark. But concentrate on trying to land his ultimate for the counter kill. Nobody else was around to grab that one. So FlyQuest just steamrolling now, and now that he does have Edge of Night completed, very confident in the 1v1 versus Keen. The active you can see there, spam. Finally times out now though.
Keen has to wait as Chaser shows up. Stand United going to be cast to turn this one right back around. Ball's not wanting to go in for any kind of a taunt on top of it, but he keeps High nice and safe.
Yeah, that error on the side of caution this time for FlyQuest. That's definitely a High call where he's like, ooh, I was a bit close and my Edge of Night expired, so balls, yeah, we're going to have to use your Stand United to save me this time around.
Edge of Night going to be popped again. Keen taken low as they try to pursue onto High, who jumps back. Looking to make some kind of a move here. Chaser is done for. That shuriken above his head means certain death. Ball's going to be looking to clean up Keen now as well. Taunt lands. See ya! Ball's going to be cashing in. Number 5 for FlyQuest.
Absolutely outplayed in the 2v2. When I saw the aggression from Team Dignitas in the 2v2, I was wondering if they had someone else on the roam on the way up, and I looked down at the minimap and they do not. It seemed like a very optimistic, aggressive move here from Keen and Chaser. Keen's already so low on mana, and the ultimate still available from High means that he is quite easily able to switch targets during the Zonias, and it's not, doesn't even feel like a 2-on-2 there because half the time you're in stasis. So very nicely played by Balls and High to just move this game from, yeah, a huge FlyQuest lead to a dramatic early game snowball, as it should be easy for them to collect the last outer. And this, again, you talk about the playing field for Rengar. Now that all the outers are about to fall down, maybe it is Moon's time to shine, as he will have a lot of territory to work with too.
OMG Scoots. Mid lane, tier 1, taken almost down, but still barely standing. Drake is going to be spawning here in a couple of seconds. You can see FlyQuest moving their way down towards that right now to continue their control over that neutral objective.
So they do know that the Shen Stand United is down. Technically, Balls could still teleport in. That does take a while. I know the channel time is quite long, and you also aren't going to be afforded that giant shield, but the cooldown is actually timing down pretty quickly for it, and there's no reason for FlyQuest to force this. So they've made the call to wait and have Dignitas started up, and Stand United is almost back off cooldown now, so really good patience this time around from FlyQuest, knowing they've got a huge lead. No need to rush into that dragon. We can just wait for the Stand United to come back up and then force Team Dignitas into a pretty poor situation.
And Dignitas' situation overall right now, Kobe, is just not one that you're generally looking at with a lot of hope and promise for what's to come. They're already down about 5,000, closer to 4,500, I guess, gold. We'll give them a little bit of a break there, but
16 minutes in is
16 minutes in, that's still a lot of gold. They don't really have anything to their names, no drakes or turrets of their own to kind of make up for it, and there's nobody on this map right now for the side of Team Dignitas that's looking like, hey, I'm going to be the hero. I'll carry this.
Yeah, and it really did remember. Oh, never mind. Let's take a look at the all-in here from High. Dodges the Q, important there, so Chaser not going to take much damage off of it. Now they know Zed Ultimate is down, but even with Zed Ultimate being down, it's still very dangerous. You still have to respect the Rengar potential.
And speaking of which, Xpecial going to be eating some damage as Black Shield finds its way onto Moon. Bola locks Xpecial down. Moon going to be forced back. Exhaust onto Keen. Stand United out onto Moon, who re-enters the fight. Bullet time going to be opened up, forcing Xpecial away. Keen is done for. Someday into the back line, looking to mop anybody up. Take down Lemon. Chaser goes down next. 2 for 1. FlyQuest still seeing what else they can find. Answer's going to be Ocean.
Lod lands his ultimate over the wall, but he's got no mana to shoot any arrows after. No DPS left to come through for Team Dignitas, and yeah, they wanted to tango with the Rengar inside rush. It was a little bit scary there for Lemonation, as he was the one to take the hit, but they get the extra kill for FlyQuest plus the Drake on top of it. And next one will be Infernal to help out with that snowballing.
Both teams really want that with the amount of assassins we're seeing in this game, but you throw your support under the bus in exchange for the enemy jungler, mid laner, and an Ocean Drake, always worth it.
All right, so yeah, they definitely wanted to take advantage of High's ult being down, but the Shen Stand United turns the numbers so quickly, and you can see Someday there, he teleported in, and he's the one that gets this counter kill, but channel time is quite long, and the positioning is a little bit awkward as well. So the extra advantage definitely does go over to FlyQuest for that one. Now, remember how this whole snowball started was so much about the bullying of the bottom lane. And this is why we see so many teams favor these double-ranged matchups rather than taking one of the tank supports currently. And them being bullied under their turret and whittled down made them a prime target for the mid and jungle roam. Plus, they have drafted this Shen, so really all arrows are pointing down to that bottom lane that's already weakened. So, and FlyQuest were able to snowball quite well off it.
FlyQuest shoving in this top part of the map. A lot of members of Dignitas hanging around to answer it, now realizing that they don't really have to be there because Fly isn't exactly putting a lot of resources into grabbing this last remaining Tier 1 turret. Black Cleaver, Yumu's Ghostblade, and another Serrated Dirk for additional lethality, all completed onto Altec. What you were talking about, the lethality creating these new opportunities for Miss Fortune to go back to her old role as an AD carry, and she is real scary.
Yeah. The armor shred from Black Cleaver is reduction, by the way, so that applies to the champion, reduces it for everyone on your team. So not only does it help out him, but Rengar and Zed also will be attacking shredded targets with their lethality, and the percentage shred plus this flat penetration is just ridiculous amounts of damage. Nobody really can stand a chance. Even Poppy will probably get shredded pretty quickly. Keen definitely getting chunked out here under the turret, and the Q does land just at the last second there to take him below half, really opening up this turret for some more siege.
Bullet time comes out. Lod almost taken down by that, having to step himself out of the very back of that range. They pop the turret and unite onto Altec, just making sure they grab the Tier 2 in the bottom part of the map.
Balls could teleport back to the top turret if they want to sit. Yep, there we go.
That's going to be the call. Decides to save this one from someday, not give Dignitas any sort of relief from the constant losses they're experiencing.
Balls just with a quick, oh, I'll go correct that mistake for Altec. You're taking the turret, no problem. I'm back to my place at my top turret, no problem. The Shen things here.
That's what Shen's so adept at. I mean, when you have two global ability teleports like that, go away, come right back, everything's great.
Yeah, and this is that focus on the overall game plan, the overall map that we talk about for FlyQuest, right? Yes, they're very happy to take CS deficits in multiple roles to create these roaming opportunities, to create these lopsided map situations where, yeah, you know, Hai is down in CS and he's been down in CS for quite a while, but he was the one to take that first roam. They take the Shen matchup. He's been getting camped. He's happy to take CS deficits because he's got this global ability. And they make up for it so much with those cross-map plays and those early roams to dive that they come out to mid-games like this where they have all the options available and can easily transition into a 1-3-1 with the Zed. I mean, he's packing Ignite as well on top of being the one with the most kills in the entire game. So his split push is extremely powerful, plus the Stand United means that it's also safe to split push, and you can even turn numbers.
As Moon and Altec push themselves up into enemy territory a little bit now, trying to choke some more of the map away from Dignitas. Exactly what you were mentioning earlier. Makes that scary, and speaking of scary, Special gonna be destroyed. Exhaust onto Chaser, zoning him away. Keen looking to go after Altec, who's still keeping himself alive somehow. Moon comes in, almost able to keep him alive. Won't do it just yet. Now Stand United gonna be used on FlyQuest. Jungler highs into the fight, immediately goes on a rampage, and immediately is shut down. Dignitas have found themselves a pretty solid looking engage. Ball's trying to get away. Someday's got the slam right back into the wall. The blast cone keeping Balls alive. 3 for 2.
Oof, Dignitas found themselves some breather room. They do get the extra kills here, grabbing 3 for themselves and getting some much needed gold. The gold is definitely getting out of hand, plus 1 minute on the Infernal Drake. They don't have a lot of time to get more gold to try and fight anything around there, but taking advantage of this opportunity. Even though a special gets caught out here, so much is used, and Altec is in a really good position for Chaser to jump on. Quite interesting that there's no Stand United on Altec. I guess they decided that Altec is pretty much toast here after he's already used his flash, and the Stand United was only kind of delay the inevitable for them, but they eventually actually make the call to try and turn, and Hai gets locked up as soon as he goes in on Zed. Really nice reaction there to instantly lock him down, and that means that the rest of the squad here has to evacuate, but Team Dignitas, good job there jumping on an opportunity, because some teams, you know, you're down so much like this, you really start to lose morale, and you start to lose the you know, ability to even capitalize on opportunities that present themselves. But that was something they needed to jump on. Good job by them to grab some money back for themselves. And now they're trying to set up for that Infernal Drake, or at least get some vision so they can try and counter here. Shen Stand United is available, so I would expect FlyQuest to might have something to say about this.
FlyQuest do want to have something to say at the end of the day. They're not going to be taking the Drake, though. Chaser grabbing that one, and Dignitas are looking to get themselves away. No penalty.
Yeah, nice sneak right there, as FlyQuest were a little bit slow to set up. So the initiation would be kind of awkward, even though the Stand United was available. They trade for some gold on that top outer and then rotate over to this Baron that critically has a turned off ward that they don't kill, but a new scrying orb was used to place the second one in there. And you do get that little burst before it gets turned off. Like, it doesn't come in turned off, and they're able to chase him off Baron with that.
That was almost one of those classic high calls that ends up getting FlyQuest a crazy advantage out of nowhere, but luckily for Dignitas, they knew what was potentially going to be happening. They shut that down immediately, and now they're going to be looking for the tier 1 middle.
Yeah, they're pretty happy with the way that the last couple minutes have gone, considering the deficit that they were facing. Able to grab up that Infernal Drake for themselves, as well as start to get some gold back.
Someday pressuring the bottom part of the map. And what we were talking about earlier, how FlyQuest ends up giving away those CS leads. Someday currently with a 25 lead for himself. There was a much larger advantage for Keen over high in the mid lane, but that's shrunk back down to about even. The only big advantage actually being possessed by FlyQuest in terms of CS numbers, since we're not really counting the jungle, is that bottom lane, that 80 carry position, Altec, with a pretty solid advantage over Lot.
Yeah, and we talked about the roaming that led to those, as well as the matchups and the bullying that comes out of it. Now we're moving into this area where Dignitas are actually setting up some good defensive vision to try and allow themselves some time to react to these plays. We've seen that they are able to turn around if they can get some favorable positioning, and Someday is quite tanky on the Poppy, full armor, which really helps out against the triple lethality people on FlyQuest. The only problem is the couple of Black Cleavers are going to shed through a little bit of it, but he's definitely going to be playing a strong point man here for the squad.
And the nice part is all the big damage threats on FlyQuest, they're all AD. Yeah, you've got some magic damage coming in from Shen's Spirit Blade, you've got some magic damage from a Morgana, but all the real measurable threats are attack damage based. So Someday is feeling very comfortable just piling on more and more armor.
It does make you feel really good as a tank to be able to build one damage type. And it's not really till on top of the Black Cleaver plus the Last Whisper start coming in that you, again, really have to worry. And it's because of this big lead that FlyQuest got that they're already approaching that point. Misfortune does already have the extra armor shred here on top of this lethality. So her ultimates, you just have to get out of it, basically. Even Someday on the front lines there is going to have to eventually watch his HP, even though Poppy renowned for her shielding abilities as well.
Means we'll probably be seeing FlyQuest look to put themselves in any kind of an opportunity or situation they can find to properly utilize that bullet time. Those close jungle corridors, small pathways anywhere are going to be exactly what these guys are looking for. Chaser finds Moon in his side of the jungle. Someday's got the extra help, as Moon's going to be taken so dangerously low, decides to go for a little bit more, not quite going to be able to find the kill. Chaser instead going to be punished. The binding comes through, bullet time comes out, Someday's going to be shielded. Xpecial takes the hit, but Someday's going to be gone too. More dig bodies are hitting the floor, and FlyQuest has found 4 of them.
Just when you get a little hope, you're like, oh yeah, they've got defensive vision. Oh, they're looking for this opportunity to try and pick one person off. They found one person. No, the Shen team, man, they're collapsing. And they're too far behind in gold. That Misfortune ultimate killed the tanks through the Unbreakable and through them being armor stacking. Very quick collapse there from FlyQuest as Rengar making use of the Empowered W as well as Shen Stand United, and Moon even lived, so they are able to transition right into the Baron pickup right after the pickoff as well. FlyQuest is going to be able to use this one to break through inhibitor turrets.
That was a very clean rotation off of that fight victory. You grab the 4 kills, you grab the tier 2, you grab the Baron, and all of a sudden you are just sitting so pretty.
And look at this. Even though you get a pick and you've got people in the area, look at the other 3 members for Team Dignitas. They're transitioning over, and they actually get here a little bit later than the FlyQuest ones. Altec flash healed for Moon to save him as well. And there is the bullet time that Rough Wreck special, even with the Unbreakable up, takes out a lot of his HP, and that since High is able to arrive at the end of the fight, you know, it's basically dream time here for Zed. You get to clean up, everybody's used all their defensive. There's no exhaust, and you have Edge of Night as well, so you get to go to town. Now he's gonna get to go in once again.
Immediate zone use from Keen, keeping himself safe. Gonna avoid pretty much everything from the death mark. Does eat some shurikens at the very end of it. He's got Chaser hanging around to keep him safe, but now that FlyQuest 1-3-1 starts up in earnest, and with Shen in the bottom lane and Zed in the top, there's gonna be so much pressure for Dig to answer.
Yeah. And, you know, kind of like you mentioned, we usually caution against single damage type comps like this, but it does become a race at that point, and if you're not...
Bullet time going to be coming out again. Moon being protected by Shen for now. Chaser's the one who goes down. Alltech grabbing that kill for himself as FlyQuest now has their opportunity to push up.
I mean, we say, oh yeah, these builds make Misfortune pretty linear and you know what to expect from her, but it feels pretty good to get off an ultimate like that and take out the whole team.
Rat-a-tat-tat, just shoots him to pieces. Alltech destroys the red inhibitor. Keen gets himself destroyed by a death mark. High is 6-1-2 on this Zed.
And yeah, he is definitely at home on this champion and loving the comeback of the lethality builds. Whenever they get the lead like this, it's hard to keep up. Even if you are buying only armor, they're so far ahead that the armor shred purchases just outpace the armor purchases. A little bit too late to even hope for that solace. Right now, though, Keeper's Verdict could even some numbers, maybe.
Moon going in for Chaser. Gonna be taken low, though. Heals himself back up. Goes can't be disabled mode and runs right back to the team. Black Shield's gonna be keeping him immune to further suppression as well. Chaser's gonna be blown up. Moon on a rampage. Someday is gonna be double killed. FlyQuest just running over Dignitas. X-Special locked down for a very long time. Bullet time just cleans them all up. Triple kill for Alltech. FlyQuest takes their game.
He's just having the time of his life here on Misfortune.
He is!
He is for a while. All right, that's going to be game number 1. Team Dignitas is going to regroup here and look for a new strat coming into game number 2. Now they will be on blue side and won't necessarily have to give over the Rengar. They will get first pick.
That was a good-looking game from FlyQuest. We talked about, you know, people were wondering, as FlyQuest goes up, are they going to continue to perform against teams that people were expecting more out of? And against Dignitas, they look good.
And one of the benefits of having these veterans on your team that FlyQuest have, Balls, Lemon, and High have been playing competitive League of Legends together for upwards of 3 years on the same team. That type of communication is at the level of you don't even have to talk anymore because you know how this person plays.
It's all right here.
Exactly. You know how the skirmish plays out because you've been playing with this guy. You know that High's always going to go for, you know, X play. He's going to want to turn it right now. And this is the advantage of having a team with such high synergy coming into a new spring split where so many of these teams have reforged, brought in new members, brought in new imports, and almost all the teams are working on communication issues, working on, you know, getting to know each other's play styles and stuff like that. And Team Dignitas are definitely one of those teams. And you can see the big difference here in team play and just in focus as well.
And it goes back to what we were talking about with those CS differences, right? Who needs all this actual stats in the game
Roam down
when
bottom,
you got
get
those
a couple of kills,
intangibles
the dragon, the turret.
that actually check in and just make up all the differences? For a deeper dive into that and exactly how that game played out, let's check in with the analysts.
Thanks, Captain, and welcome back to the analyst desk.
Captain, my guy.
Flowers, Captain Flowers, Clayton. You can call whatever you want.
Yeah, I call him Bill Walton.
Andy Samberg.
Yeah, whatever you want to go for. That was a pretty crazy game, though. Yeah. I think the big thing I want to talk about is just the draft, because Team Dignitas, when you look at their champions that they got, it looks like they completely crushed the draft in terms of just the power level. But when you think about how their team actually wins, being through Someday and him getting stuck on Poppy versus Shen, I think this actually came out decently well for FlyQuest.
I actually think this is such an interesting draft that we could actually spend so much time talking about, because Dignitas don't ban the typical 3 that you see on red side, and then they do a trade, but Moon gets Rengar, the Misfortune gets picked up, gets flexed to the AD carry position, and they also banned out in the second rotation for FlyQuest tanks, It's just like really peculiar because you're like, we picked Shen, we expect a Gangplank from Someday, but it's like, no, we're gonna put him on Poppy. He wants to counter the Rengar and he wants to do all these other things and like play a tank matchup. But like you were saying, Someday's their carry. He's on a tank now. And now, because they really wanted just an extra tank in the composition.
Yeah, I think that's really what it's about, right? It's about the opportunity they had to get such high priority picks. I think, generally speaking, if you're not actually looking at the team names or anything like that, you see Dignitas' draft, and I think that you say they smashed draft.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Poppy against a very highly physical damage team. That's probably going to get to the point where you think he's going to be almost immune to damage. You have 3 picks, which are first pick worthy. You have Kha'Zix, you have LeBlanc, you have Varus. These are all first pick champions now in 7-2, and it's like, how did you end up in this world with such a good draft?
And a part of it is the fact that they didn't ban the 3, right? So you're going to trade 1 for 2, and the fact that FlyQuest actually banned Camille on their side. So I think it's clever by Dignitas, but I think it's even more clever by FlyQuest because they played to their strengths. Hai has already been playing things like Kassadin, now the Zed, so he doesn't care if they get LeBlanc. He's done it multiple times. He's got a counter for it. They also play like an all AD composition, so you're like, what? Why is this a good composition? But the Misfortune actually just buys Black Cleaver right off the bat and starts actually shredding for the team fights.
Right, we talked about, you know, all the lethality buffs, MF being a recipient as well, but you touched on Hai, and he really was like the kind of the big story of this game, the initial roam down bot lane that we just saw to kind of break the game open for them, this massive outplay in the top side 2v2, and as well as getting solo kills in the mid lane the whole game. Like, Hai was, I don't think this strategy works without Hai being a master tier Zed where he just like crushes the game, because if your Zed is not snowballing, I think your comp falls behind. You run into that issue of being too physical damage heavy, but the fact that you get so ahead of the Poppy in this game, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree completely, and I think that's one of the fun things about FlyQuest is they know their strengths and they're happy to play their game. Generally speaking, LeBlanc, oh my God, you can't leave LeBlanc up. That's ridiculous, right? FlyQuest has done that twice, and both times, Hai has severely outperformed the LeBlanc. First on the Kassadin, as Irene mentioned, now on the Zed. You know, they go MFAD instead of, we did see it, I guess, once in Europe, but this is the first time in NA, and this is something that they're showing so much creativity in the drafts, and they're also showing that play matters more than the meta priority, right? You can do something that you're very comfortable on and very competent on, you know, such as the Misfortune AD and, you know, the Zed mid. These are things that are not as highly prioritized in the meta, and you can still have success on them. So I really like seeing this, and I would like to see these sorts of drafts and strategies more from different teams.
Right, and I think a perfect team to do that would be Dignitas. As much as, you know, I think they want to be this complete whole team that can play different styles, that's just not the reality that they live in, where they actually do need Someday to go off, because every game where he is controlled, they basically lose.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Dignitas kind of have the Immortals problem where they have a carry top laner with Huni back in the last split. So why not play to them, right? Why not actually set him up for success and allow him to carry the team? But then you're like, but that kind of goes against the meta because tanks are good. So they have to figure out what they want to do with that and if everybody else can carry and practice it a little more. But I also want to touch on the FlyQuest point one last time, because every time Hai is playing something like a Kassadin into LeBlanc, every time they give up the LeBlanc, the Zed, etc., they get Rengar for Moon. So he's actually sacrificing, you know, a top priority pick in LeBlanc, saying, I can play against it because we're going to get our jungler the best pick in the game right now. So I think that he's actually kind of taking one for the team, saying, I can play these matchups, so we're setting Moon up for success.
And he has really had a lot of success on the Rengar, but another guy we have to highlight here is Altec. He's going to be our player of the game, you know, showing the versatility in the champ select, allowing them to have that as a flicks pick. He destroyed the bot lane, and he had some really key ultimates as well as the Black Cleaver build, which helped to enable their AD's composition.
Right, I mean, it really is one of those picks that it doesn't tell the whole story, just the stat line, even though he did have a good stat line as well. The fact that the MF pick can shred a team, allow the Zed to kind of start running wild in there, as well as the Rengar just being able to assassinate people.
Yeah, he's also playing against a Braum as well. So the Braum just puts the shield up and can block the ultimate, but is able to play around that a little bit more and hold it and wait for the opportunity. So Altec did play incredibly well, and I'm interested to see, because this was like a solo queue build that we were seeing with the Deathfire touch coming out for the Misfortune AD carry. So maybe it'll make its rounds. Maybe it's good against Varus when he doesn't have a healing support.
Definitely a very exciting draft in Game 1. I'm excited to see what we have in store for us in Game 2, but we're going to step away for a quick break. When we come back, it's Game 2 between